It's never been this cold in here before?
No.
What's going on? I mean, I always just figured that the delirium kind of generated its own power. I mean, maybe from its kinetic motion around the outer skin of the universe or some magical bullshit like that.
I don't know, man. Maybe, but it ain't working right now.
I think I should go and check the radiator.
The radiators.
There were some. I mean, I know the curtains are painted on, but there should be radiators. Hold on. Hold on. Oh yeah. There's definitely a radiator here, but it feels. I don't know. It feels really kind of brittle.
Brittle.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, hang on. Oh!
What happened?
I don't think I wanted to do that.
What?
There's something in here, though. The radiators aren't full of water.
What? What's been heating us then?
Well, they're full of sherbet.
Dip dabs?
Yeah. It's like literally full of packs of dib dab. Maybe it's trying to tell us that if you kind of prioritise the profits of your shareholders over the needs of your customers, then the only thing that you can guarantee is that somebody's going to be kept in sherbet for a while.
Maybe moment.
Good welcome. It'll do. Hello, this is Maybe Movies. My name is Max.
And my name is Sam.
And every month we take a couple of great films, extract key characters from them, drop them into the plot of the opposite film, and see how they get on.
Or not, as the case may be.
Yes, although this month so far we're doing okay. Thank you for joining us again, and also a huge thank you to our recent subscribers as well. We've had another few to the roster.
Thank you!
You are more than welcome. If you have been with us so far this month, then you'll know that we have in our grubby little mitts this month the Soylent Green.
Yes, and Damien the Omen too.
And with a huge thank you to one of our biggest supporters, to Jen from Gen X Official.
Thank you so much for this.
Yes. Also, very quickly, thank you to a friend of Jen's, Sybil. Would you let us know that Jen's been a bit under the weather recently, so...
Oh no.
Huge thumbs for a big and quick and speedy recovery.
Many best wishes. I'm sorry to hear that.
But we're going to do a quick shout out before we go any further.
Of course.
And this is a shout out and also another thank you. This is for Shane and Ryan and Mike, even though he wasn't there, from the All You Need Is Blood podcast, for having us on the show a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, thanks guys, we really do appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.
It was, and you can have us back. We'll come back. They don't want us. But it was great loads of fun. If you want to hear how it all worked out, then there will be a link in the description below. With that out of the way...
On to Act 3?
On to Act 3!
There are a couple of humps in the way, I think, but a lot of this is probably going to start running on rails.
Yeah, one thing... one thing that I think that we did... I know we were talking last time about... Obviously, Richard Thorne isn't Charlton Heston Thorne, and you know he's older and he's slightly more frail. But I think one thing we did overlook, if he's as much Richard Thorne from the original film, he went to the same military academy as Damien and Mark are at.
Of course, they said specifically that like 3 generations of their family's been in the academy. Yes.
Yeah. So, yes, okay, he's an older gentleman, but he probably knows how to handle himself.
He's capable of some things, certainly, yes.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to ask as well, and again, it kind of crossed my mind first time I watched Soylent Green, and then it was only on my second rewatching that I kind of picked up on it a bit more. Even though they never say anything directly, is the suggestion there that Thorne and Sol are gay? They say they love each other quite a lot, and on the leaving note that Sol leaves for for Thorn.
No, I
There's about
I
5 or
always thought
6
that was a father-son thing rather than a...
On the final note that he leaves for Thorn,
Uh-huh.
there's like 6 or 7 kisses at the end of it.
Like I said, I feel like I always take it for a father-son type relationship.
Oh, okay. But anyway, that's by the by, that's not what we're doing here. So we get... Now, how do we want to handle Sol going home, first of all?
When you say handle, what do you mean?
Are we allowing it the same as happens, that he just goes to see him and finds the note? I didn't know whether we wanted to maybe up the conflict here by, again, keying into what we were saying before about he's doing his research for the police, but obviously Thorn has employed him independently of that. Maybe the police have found out that he's gone to go home.
Yeah.
And that's how he finds out, is because Hatcher contacts Thorn and says, what the hell have you got my guys up to? One of my best books has just disappeared off to go and kill himself. And that's how he finds out and goes there. But I don't know whether that's going to detract or if it's... That's adding really anything else into it, as aside from creating conflict for conflict's sake.
Right. I don't know. I feel like it flows quite naturally. Like, after interrogating Tab and finding out what he does, he would want to go and see Sol.
That's fine. That, again, just...
Strike that. Reverse it.
You know, because he's got new information that might...
Yes, of course.
Might change things. I got the impression that going home is a phrase for what they do, so he'd know what that means.
Yes, of course.
So, I don't know, I feel like that bit flows quite naturally.
That flows naturally. Okay. It's the investigating the Soylent factory. That's the
Yes, it's after the hospital it starts to get humpy.
Yes. I had an idea. It will require some slight backtracking. Not changing anything, just seeding a few things earlier in the film.
Okay.
It might also give us a shorter third act and a very different ending to the film. Don't know. But
Okay.
I shall put it out there and leave
right.
it to the jury to decide.
See how it goes.
As we've established before, Thorn Industries is an electronics company. And again, this is kind of just subtly on a lot of the things that we see earlier in the film, things like the video game that Shirl is playing at the start and things like this, if they all have the Thorn logo on them.
Yeah, okay.
We can also again throw in at an earlier point when he's at his office or whatever and they're discussing stuff, they've had a mandate from the government that they want to put something in or they have to put something in all of Thorn's tech that the government can take over it and make public addresses whenever they like.
Okay, yeah. Public address system.
Yes. So rather than trying to sneak in, Thorn being a businessman, makes it known that he's interested in a merger between Thorn and Soylent, for which he wants to go and visit the factory. Takes a small camera with him. He can go off-piste and go and... Obviously, they're not going to show him that.
Yeah.
They'll show him all of the public-facing stuff. But at some point, we will have him go off-piste with a small camera that he can then, boom, transmit what he finds to the world. In a nutshell.
You blindsided me, but I love it. It gives it a greater, a more impactful ending. Yeah, I like that. You've just made a very short third act.
Just made a
really
very
short
short
third act here.
I mean, obviously, there's still things to work out about what happens once the transmission goes out. Does he get shot there? Does he manage to get away? You know, those kind of things would still need to be ironed out. But...
All right, let's go with that, and let's ask these questions. So, yes.
Yeah.
Bosh.
See, part of me would think that if we still wanted Thorn to die at the end... Obviously, this is going on, he's transmitting it. Once they know that somebody's transmitting from inside the factory, then they send everybody to go and try and find him. One of them including being Tab Fielding.
Okay, yeah.
So that we still keep him in there.
So he still has that final confrontation with Tab, yeah.
Yeah. And again, I mean, we could do it simply that they have that confrontation, Tab gets the shot off and hits him, and as he goes down, it's just as the police are turning up, so he's seen... and then gets taken into custody. Or we could do it the other way. I think we'd still like Tab to get killed. You should still get to shoot. Richard gets shot. But in that final kind of struggle, he knocks him over into the Soylent machine.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, nice gruesome death.
But then it's really up to us, does he survive or not? I mean, you know, it's going to take a while for the police to get out there. There's going to probably be resistance until they've got authority to go in, I suppose.
I feel like going with a they live kind of ending is probably the better way to go with it. Because it gives meaning. It gives meaning to it. It gives greater meaning to it if he actually sacrifices himself.
Absolutely. And yes, it also does, because it humanises the character as well, because again, it was always going to be a bit of a, for a film, as we've been saying throughout this entire thing, for a film as cynical as this, replacing an everyman with a 1%er as your protagonist is a hard sell.
Yes, it is.
And this something like this will humanise him even more.
Mm-hmm.
Just to echo the original film, the final shot is obviously his hand up, clutching the railings, so you still get that nice symbolism like you get from the original film of Thorn, like the one hand raised in defiance.
Oh yeah.
So we still keep that as like our final shot.
I agree. Yeah.
That's it.
That is it. That really is it. One of the shortest episodes we've ever done.
I think so. I think it may well be.
Once again, entirely your work.
It just, again, just thought about it. I just thought, well, he's electronics, we could do that, yeah. And their society is dystopian enough and controlling enough that you'd think that the government probably would want a backdoor into somebody's system so that they could just take over and have a public address, whenever they wanted to.
Yeah, of course.
And obviously he makes the stuff, so he's going to know what the backdoor is and can use it for his own purposes. What do we do now?
I think we move on to the next movie.
Okay. Before we do, though, I'm going to have some orange sherbet.
Orange sherbet!
Orange sherbet?
It's not orange sherbet. I've got it all over me already, though. All the moisture disappears from my mouth. We're going to enjoy our dib dabs.
Fizzy good.
And turn our minds to all things infernal.
Indeed.
So, yeah, thank you for joining us on arguably the shortest episode of Maybe Movies Ever. We will be back on Friday with Act 1 of Green Omen, which I'm forever at some point going to call it Green Onions. Anyway, we shall see you on Friday. Thanks again. Take care.
As always, guys, TTFN.
Orange sherbet.
Ba 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 ba.